Yeah, Stephen Van Schaik, Managing Director of BioGro, is over in Europe at the moment, and he is checking out some of the gear that we're looking at doing going forward. Now, firstly, my background is sawmilling. I've been involved in a local sawmill here for 20 odd years, and I joined BioGro in about August last year. So in the past, for me, where I just wanted to get rid of bark, and it was a bit of a nuisance, in this role here, it's a totally different kettle of fish altogether. So I'm very much on a learning phase with this side of it. However, having said that, some of you, Pete and others, locals would know BioGro reasonably well, but I will give you some metrics on BioGro, just so you can get an understanding of the business. Overall, the company processes about 700,000 cubic metres of organic material annually. The main site, which does about 490,000 cubic metres, is out at Wandillo, just up the road here. Down in the factory, put through about 100,000 cubic metres. We do have an operating facility in Victoria, in Dandenong, where we process 110,000 cubic metres annually through that operation there. And over at Kingston, we hold our seagrass, because we also compost up seagrass in some of our products as well. So at the Kingston block, we hold seagrass. There's two packaging plants in the business at the moment. We have one here in the factory here in Mount Gambier, and the other we've just set up, commissioned just a couple of months ago, really down at Dandenong. All up at the moment, those plants can do are doing about 4 million bags per year, and there's capacity to do more bags through those plants. So the basic inputs are from the sawmills, the bark, sawdust, a bit of wood chip, seagrass, humic peat, which is near and dear to our founder, Hans Van Schaik's heart, manures and commercial timber waste. As far as employment goes, there's 93 people all up as far as full-time employees in the business. 40 of those are out at Wandillo, 23 operating in the factory here in Mount Gambier, and there's 30 over in Victoria. We also have a small fleet of trucks running around. There's 15 odd trucks, B doubles and semis and whatnot, running around the place, and there's far too many front end loaders and excavators for my liking in the business as well. So lots of plant and equipment. And when you reflect 40 odd years ago when Hans started this business up that Pete alluded to sort of right early on today, that guy started with an excavator. That was the first bit of equipment he bought. And so it's a fantastic story for the southeast. And it's one of many stories, Ian's family, and there's a few others in the southeast where guys that had vision and a never say die attitude just kept going and going and going. The southeast has been blessed with people with great vision. And Hans Van Schaik is one of those guys to start with an excavator, and what I've just read out to you today, it's a credit to the family to get where they've got. I'll just say that there's two projects that we are looking at that sort of relate to this forum, and that is an AD plant and a wood pellet plant. The one thing that's unique to my view in this area is the radiated pine industry. When you look at, and I did a rough calc, I think, and David might be able to correct me here, but I think this region at the moment would be cutting in excess of 2 million tonne of saw log when you look through the various mills. And sawmills aren't sawmills. I'll take my glasses off so I can see you guys now. There's different types of sawmills. So you've got structural sawmills, and the two big ones would be cutting, or somewhere between 1.4, 1.6 million tonne of saw log, and then the other mills would be making up the rest. And the structural mills, if Dave and his guys could ever get their act together and make square logs where the heart falls out of the log when it gets brought in, we wouldn't have this problem now because there'd be no wood chip, no sawdust. Well, actually there would be a bit of sawdust, but certainly no chip. Because fundamentally all sawmills are trying to do is take a round log and turn it into a square board. So that's the only reason the wood chip's generated through a sawmill. However, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. So with an area that's cutting over 2 million tonne of sawlog, the sawmill residues are a key resource in this area, which does make it unique. And I do believe we are unique in this in Australia, given the topography of the country here and the quality of the sawlog. A lot of the sawlog is structural sawlog, which is why you don't see too many timber engineering plants in this area. We generate a large amount of structural sawlog for the Australian market in this region. And then you've got unique areas like Ian's operation that does some of the packaging type stuff. So the volume will always come through. The one thing at risk as far as resources, and I can tell you this from experience because we're looking at it ourselves, when you get to a particular scale in a structural sawmill, because you use heat and power and diesel and the rest of it, you look internally to see whether you can do something, again, a bit like the AD type setup with Peter over there. It's a high cost, but you've also, because you can use the heat through the kiln drying process, you get to a certain scale where you would look internally to use your sawmilling residues to generate the power and the heat, and then you offset that about the external costs that you're currently incurring to cut that. But it is based on scale, and not everyone in this region is going to achieve scale. So from a BioGro's point of view, BioGro is well placed to offer a service to the sawmills in this area. Because one thing sawmills don't want to do, they don't want to get caught up mucking around with their waste. It's not their target product. And if they've got a footprint where you can't store waste for a period of time, you're not going to switch your mill off because you can't do something with your waste. It is unreliable in this area. From time to time you can be switched off, and if you don't have another option, then you find a lot of your management time has started to work out what you're going to do with your waste, rather than focusing on what you should be doing with your primary products coming through. So BioGro is well placed to offer a solution in that area, but it has to be commercial, and so the feasibility studies that we're doing on wood pellets will be basically in that area. If it's a commercial outcome for us, then it's something that we will chase, and I believe that there's enough logistics on both sides from the sawmilling point of view and from our point of view where it would be worthwhile pursuing. So those are two projects that we're currently looking at.